What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Me, my old man in a movie. I'm Gannon. This is my dad, Ryan, and today we are going to be reviewing the film The Monkey.
And just for reference, we have watched the movie.
We watched the movie.
We have
read the story. Yeah,
so
we just read it today.
So comparisons as we move through this between the two, if you're unfamiliar with one or the other at this point.
And we won't be giving away anything, no spoilers, so you guys can watch this without.
Which was tempting to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of spoilers that I would love to cover.
Yeah,
because
So yeah. Listen, I want to say not spoiling, but some tipping of the hat towards some things. So
yeah.
But I won't give much away. But I do need to kind of have some breath to talk about things. So we'll get into it. So overall, what did you think of the film itself?
Overall, I thought that the movie was garbage.
Well, there you go.
I thought it sucked.
I was in our short as well.
Yeah.
I didn't think too much of the film. So the review's not going to be too great for this, but we'll find some things for our blockbuster trio. Things that we liked about the film.
And for our trilogy of change, things that we would change about the film.
A little bit easier as we go through this one. We'll rate it at the end.
Yeah, we'll rate it. And then we'll basically just say if you guys, watch it in theaters, wait for it to stream, or just skip it all together.
Yeah.
So
here we go.
Here we go. Let's get right into the trilogy or the blockbuster trio. All right, so you want to kick it off?
I'll kick it off. All right. So the first thing I loved about this film was the setting. I thought you've not seen it, but for me, going back to nostalgia, it had a Wonder Years feel. It's a Fred Savage series that aired on TV when I was a kid, kind of set in that era. It had the voiceover where he's kind of talking through, narrating the story. And so I appreciated that part of it. Call it a Stranger Things feel, call it whatever you want to reference, but for me, Wonder Years kind of hit it with the narration, and I thought that was great.
All right. So the first thing I had, the things I liked, was the kills were brutal.
Of course you did.
This was the best part of the movie, I thought, but I will say I think it went overboard on a lot of the kills. I think that they just went so far on some of them that it was like that was unrealistic, but I think that the brutality with the kills, the gore, the blood, if you're a fan of gore and blood, then yeah.
This is your movie.
This is your movie. It's a lot. It's a lot.
All right, we'll come back to that. I've got that somewhere down on my other list. So second blockbuster trio thing for me is enjoyed the childhood scenes. So, this thing goes back and forth. It's in the trailer. You see more of the adult aspect of this as the characters as adults in the trailer. But they go back and they do some things with the children. I actually would have liked to see more of this, more of the childhood aspect of this film. I think that aids in the whole kind of Wonder Years feel that it would have carried in that era of the 80s and early 90s. But it didn't. It kind of fast forwards to the rest of, when they're adults. But I really enjoyed watching the scenes play out with the two brothers as kids.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. That part was good. The next thing I had is the monkey itself was scary. I thought that the monkey, the doll, added a creepiness factor to it that I really enjoyed. It reminded me of like Annabelle. In a way that it's just this really creepy doll that you probably, if you ever saw that as a kid, you'd never want, but it's a movie, so they have to act like they want it, but nobody would actually want that doll.
Right. So I said my third thing was almost verbatim, did a good job with Monkey itself. So I said that I did like it. I thought they did a good job with it. Now, when we read the story, it's interesting the difference in the story. It's a little more. Now I don't know in the childhood scenes, but near the end, it's more tattered and balding and kind of abused a little bit, which I think gives it a little creepier feel than what they had in this movie. But they did a lot with the eyes, looking into the eyes of the monkey,
Mhm.
and I thought, yeah, I mean, and the little baton stick, drumstick in his hand, and aging it, and kind of, yeah, it fit, and I
It
thought
did,
they did
yeah.
a good job with that. So it was number 3.
All right, so my third one was, and this is one that I was just kind of trying to find something to put on a list of things that I liked about it, but there was just one random funny scene in the film that kind of broke the tension, and I thought it worked. I thought it was good. It was kind of random. There wasn't any other funny parts really about this movie except that one scene, so it was kind of random, but I enjoyed it. It was
I
fun.
wish I could. I don't know what you're referencing, and you can't say it on camera here. But there were a couple attempts at humor.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm curious now. I'll have to find out from you after we stop the tape. But all right, so those are the 3 blockbuster trios.
Yep.
Okay, we managed to come up with some things we liked about the film.
It's tough. It was tough, but
Now
we did
let's go to the
it. Trilogy of Change. All right, Trilogy of Change. I'll kick it off this time.
All right.
All right, so the first thing I had is that the dialogue was straightforward and bland. Like, there was nothing special about the writing, and frankly, it felt very flat and just very dull, bland.
Too on the nose is what I said in
there
the
was
car.
some exposition dump that I was like,
Yeah.
it didn't need. And so it didn't have anything special with the writing.
Yeah. All right. So then here's my first one. It kind of goes along. Deviation from the short story. I would have stuck closer to the storyline of the short story itself, and maybe in particularly that's why, like, if the writing was lacking a little bit, then all the more reason to lean more heavily on the original,
yeah.
and create more of an adaptation than kind of a inspired by, because they kind of moved quite a bit from the plot.
Oh yeah.
And that just, it didn't work as well. I mean, and you've got Stephen King in your back pocket. Like, you're not going to tell a better story than Stephen King. So just tell Stephen King's story. You have the rights, do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they felt the need to kind of go off on their own tangent as much as they did.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. So the second thing I had was that the story didn't flow well. I didn't feel like there was a clear direction the whole time, especially even more early on when it did some of the time jumps and stuff. I just didn't feel like the story flowed like it. Just, I don't know, it didn't flow quite right.
Yeah.
Like, it just felt like it was missing something.
Yeah. Second thing for me was character backstories. So there were, when they become adults, they kind of, where they are in life and some of the decisions they've made for themselves. And again, I'm trying to stay vague so that I don't ruin it for y'all if you go see this. But I felt like they didn't leave anything for these adult characters, for me to like these adult characters, I guess I would say. Like, they just made, and maybe it's the trauma of their childhood, right? Like, if you justify it that way, maybe the writers would say it was the trauma of their childhood. I don't know. But for me, like, neither one of the boys seemed very somebody I would want to identify with, or somebody that I would, they just didn't, they never quite accomplished much and became anything worth, and even their ancillary characters that were developed around that, spouses, whatnot, it just didn't set well. It just didn't it didn't pull me in at all, if I'll just say it that way. So
the third thing I had was actually not really much to do with the movie, but the trailers revealed way too much. They revealed way too much. Basically, all of the kills you saw in the trailer are basically all the kills you're going to see during the movie. Now they hide some graphics in the trailer.
A little bit more.
Yeah, but it's what's going to happen throughout the entire film. You're like, oh, I saw this in the trailer. I know this is going to happen from the trailer.
So for 5 minutes, you're like watching the scene play out, and you know how it ends, and you're just watching the scene play out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little.
And then the only extra thing you get is just a bunch of gore. that they didn't show in the trailer that
Yeah.
some of the kills have, but that's not really worth it because you already know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I will say I found myself bored in parts of this, like almost reaching for my phone to like check my tag. I know there was only like 5 people in the theaters and we were in the very back, so it wouldn't have been disturbing to anybody, but I was like, I'm really not into this. So the third thing then for me, going to go back to one of your blockbuster trios, overuse of gore. You've mentioned it a couple times now. I just felt like they left nothing to the imagination. It was just all about shock value. I don't like when films do this. You know, we've watched some horror genre stuff, and there's just been certain ones. Thanksgiving's another one we've talked about. You know, like that. I was just like, this reminded me of that. It was just like over the top, and you're like, just. It's too much. Like
it's not scary anymore. It's not creepy. It's just
silly, and it's it's just not even enjoyable to like. There's just it just doesn't take much creativity. It doesn't take much to just at that point. I think they think they're being creative, but it's like you're doing the actual opposite. It's like when they overuse language, what this one did as well a little bit. So when you overuse something. It kind of pulls it in the opposite direction of what you're trying to accomplish with it. And one could argue if there's any value in language. I know that's a debatable topic, but in particular, it went way too far, and it just lost me very early on. You're like, oh, okay. And we knew, but again, that's not what's in the original short story.
Yeah,
which was an interesting differentiation from it. Stephen King had the ability to kind of pull you in without doing that, and I think that's an art. That's an art form.
Yeah, and it makes it more creepy too.
Right.
Your brain naturally imagines what's going to happen and what did happen sometimes when they don't show it, and that's scarier than if they actually did show it.
It's a bit insulting to the audience, I think, to like, let me do this for you. Let me do the hard work for you. I guess. Okay, so there it is. Did you have 3 or did I kicked it off or you did?
I kicked it off, so that's it, right?
Excuse me. So, here we go. Rating.
All right, so my rating for it is a 5.
4. I'm going with a 4. I almost did 4, and we're going to do what? Monkeys? I don't know.
4 monkeys.
We didn't talk about this, but there they are. 4 or 5
4
monkeys.
yeah.
Below us. Okay, so then recommend on what level?
Skip altogether.
Skip altogether.
Don't even bother with this one.
Read the short story if you want something.
Yeah.
There's versions of it that are available that you can grab the audiobook. Again, if it's your thing, but
I would pass on this movie.
Yeah, not even to compare it. Like honestly, like I just know it's not as good, and just if you're interested in the story, read the short story.
Unless you're a fan of like the Terrifier movies, then maybe you go see this movie because those are just
there's an audience. There's obviously an audience.
Yeah,
we're just not it, and I doubt most of our audience is it. So, all right, that's it. We got what's next? What's coming up?
Well, we've got Mickey 17.
Is that next drop?
Yeah, next week.
Okay.
So.
Well, that should be good. I hope
that one is good. Yeah.
You never can tell. All right, and then like, subscribe,
do all this stuff. Help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. We're over halfway there. Help us get there.
Pushing towards 600 right now. So the watch hours are going to be the hard part, aren't they?
Yeah.
As we were looking at that, that's going to be the tough part. It's the subscribers are one thing, but watch hours.
So if you made it all the way here and you watched it all the way through,
watch it again.
You're awesome.
Watch it again. Just watch it a few times. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, help us reach our goal, and we'll see you guys next time.